Hello, this is Shore, and welcome to the tutorial for Collision Chaos for the Sonic C 90% speedrun. Collision Chaos is overall a pretty straightforward zone as long as you know a few tips and tricks, and with the exception of Act 2 maybe, it's overall a pretty simple zone. So let's go through all the acts in order, starting with Collision Chaos Act 1. At the beginning of Act 1, you want to charge a full payload and hold right. So I like to do a full jump around where Amy is, in order to land on a patch of grass that's a bit higher up. And I kind of slow myself down a little bit as I'm getting near the patch of grass in order to slow down and come to a stop in front of the wall. Alternatively, you can also run a little closer to around here and do a speed cap jump. This can be faster, but it's also a lot easier to lose time doing this. But I still recommend you try both ways and see which one works for you better. Regardless of which method you do though, what you do afterwards is the exact same. Charge a payload, and we're setting up an MPO here. If you don't know what an MPO is, I recommend you go watch the introduction video, since that details what an MPO is and also a lot of other important mechanics of this game, which are used throughout the entire run. After this, you want to hold down right and then up in order to clip into this wall, and you'll know you did this right when Sonic is in his balancing animation here. Once Sonic is in the wall, you want to do a small left tap. Ideally, it's around 1 frame or maybe a little bit longer than that. Generally, the shorter your zip is here, the higher your chance of not getting subpixeled and getting stuck in between those two spikes on the bottom, as you can see. Now, once you zip out, go neutral and wait until Sonic lands on the ground here. He'll be in this balancing animation. Once you see this, you want to do a 1 frame right tap and then another 1 frame right tap once Sonic stops. And if done correctly, you should level wrap. Now, it's really important to emphasize that these right taps should be 1 frame right taps, because if they're not, you will likely not get the level wrap. For example, let's say your second right tap is longer than 1 frame. Let's say it's 2 frames long. If it's 2 frames long, then you'll get something like this, where Sonic is, instead of pushing against the wall, he'll be in a kind of braking animation here. If this happens, you can still save it. So in this case, I go neutral here until the screen shifts and I hold left. However, it is just in this specific save state where that actually works. In most cases, you'll get some random, something completely random, and when you have to hold left is just completely dependent on your subpixels with no way to control it. So that's why getting a 1 frame zip out of the wall there is incredibly important. If you do not get that, there's a very high chance that the lower up will not work. As well, it's worth mentioning that even if you get all the inputs correctly, there's still a chance that Sonic will not level wrap, and this just comes down to subpixels and frame alignment. There's not really much you can do to prevent this. All I can say is that you should try to play the level in a relatively the same way each time to minimize the chance of that happening. Now, one last thing to note is that if you do get subpixeled anywhere, or you don't get the lower wrap or something like that, you can still save it. So let me speed cap here. As mentioned in the introduction, you can do what's called a quick reset, where if you're paused and you press all 3 jump buttons on the same frame, you'll restart the level completely. Now this does reset cycles, however in the case of this level it's not actually important. You can just play the level as usual. One important thing to note though is that you should make sure to do the quick reset prior to Metal Sonic breaking these spikes, since sometimes if he breaks the spikes and you do the quick reset afterwards, these spikes can not respawn, so might not happen here. Let's see. Let me wait a little longer. As you can see, they're not there. Now, this actually, I've had this happen just when Metal Sonic breaks the spikes, so you should try your best to reset before Metal Sonic even breaks the spikes in general, because if the spikes aren't there, you can't stand inside the wall, and there's no way for you to level up. Other than that, that's pretty much it for Collision 1, so we can move on to the next act here, which is Collision Chaos 2. Now, at the beginning of Collision Chaos 2, charge a full peel out, and you want to hold right immediately after. There's two ways to do this beginning. One is much easier than the other, so I'll explain that one first. Once you get close to this little hole here, you want to do a speed cap jump, so hold right and jump. And you want to walk down into this little hole onto this ramp, and once you start walking down, switch to holding right. And once Sonic is kind of slowly moving upwards, you want to make sure to let go of right to make Sonic stop like this. Sometimes, if you're not careful, Sonic can fall into the hole. However, thankfully, once again, a quick reset can save you there if that does happen. And it's only a few seconds of time loss, so it's not that big of a deal. Once you're in this position, charge a full peel out, and you want to jump frame perfectly, like so. And you'll know you got it once Sonic kind of propels upwards at a very high speed. Now, it is a frame perfect jump, but don't be too intimidated by this. This jump, with a bit of practice, actually gets pretty consistent. The best way to do this jump is to be as close to the top of the ramp as possible, because that way, once you release your peel out, you just have to jump out of on pause frame after, which is significantly easier than trying to time the jump. So the way to make this jump easier is to just be as close to the top of the slope as possible, and that way, when you do your peel out, you can just jump immediately out of the unpause, the frame after unpausing. This makes the jump significantly easier than having to like time it, and with a bit of practice, it gets pretty consistent. You can trust me on that. Now, actually, a good thing to note about this jump is that sometimes, depending on where you line up for it, the frame that you jump on can actually look different. Sometimes Sonic will be on a diagonal up on the slope on the correct jump frame. Sometimes he'll be flat on the top here on where like the green grass starts. Sometimes he'll be a little further to the left, sometimes he'll be further to the right. But the general frame itself is the same, and as long as you're right up, like fairly close to the top of the slope, the jump frame will be one frame after you unpause every single time. Now, there is a faster way to do this beginning. So at the beginning of the level, once again, charge a full peel out and hold right. And you want to pause here on this frame. Sonic is kind of like directly in the middle of this slope, like his feet fully cover this little slope. You want to jump out of on pause, and then you want to jump on the exact same jump frame as before. This is double frame perfect, and it saves around 2 seconds. I don't recommend doing this if you're a beginner, because it's not a very big time save, and it's just much more difficult than the other strat. However, if you feel like it, you can give it a go. Regardless of which method you do though, the rest of the level is the same. So from here, you want to, once you get close to the top of this ceiling, you want to speed cap, and you want to hold right until Sonic lands, from where you want to slow down and come to a stop. Then charge a full peel out and hold right until the edge of this ceiling here and roll. If you don't hold right here, you can get something like this, where Sonic bounces on this enemy, which you don't want. This loses time, and it's also kind of hard to recover from in general, so make sure to hold right afterwards. Once Sonic lands, wait until he hits this enemy, and then do a medium tap jump, sort of. It's kind of a jump that you need to get a feel for, but it's not too difficult. Next, roll down this slope until Sonic is in the bottom half of this kind of black rectangle here. There are frames that are posted in the write-up for this game, the document, so if you want exact frames you can look there, but this is the general area where I jump. This is not the earliest frame that you can jump on, but this will work. As you can see, Sonic bounces very well off of that. Now, sometimes if you jump too late, for example, you can get something like this. where you get stopped like that. So if this happens, make your way over to the right to this third pit here. Then you want to stop and you want to peel out up to the top and hold right. This is probably the easiest way to back this up, and it's also fairly fast of a backup. There are probably faster ways to back this up, however, they're a lot harder and less intuitive, so I personally recommend just doing this because it's nice and easy and it doesn't lose too much time. Now, when you do get the good jump, this next part is pretty annoying to get a feel for, but it's done entirely by feel. There's not really a setup for this or anything. When you see you've gotten the good balance, I like to speed cap around where this time travel post is. Then I hold left for a little bit, and then I hold right. That was wrong, but if I can do this by feel without pausing, I'll be able to do it. So it's something like this. And if done correctly, you should bounce through that little passageway there. Once you bounce through, wait until a good spot, and then hold left to kind of squeeze through these two bumpers and get the speed shoes. Once again, this is done entirely by feel. There's not any setup for this, and you just kind of have to get the hang of it. So practice that section until you're comfortable doing it very nicely. Anyways, once you get past that little section there, you want to roll into these speed shoes, face right, and charge a full peel out. Once you start nearing the top of the slope, you want to do kind of a long left tap in order to slow down and then switch back to holding right. Now the reason we do this is because if you just hold right here, sometimes, now it didn't happen there, let me try to get it to happen. Oh. As you can see, Sonic can get stuck there, and I'm not sure why this happens sometimes and sometimes it doesn't, but it might have to do with subpixels or something. The point is, you shouldn't do this. You should just peel out here, slow down a bit, and then run up here, because regardless, you're going to need to hit the spring anyways. Make sure you run past start to slow down around kind of where this like black bar is. I like to slow down around this relative area, and I slow down here and walk into the spring and then hold right. Now keep holding right, and then once you get kind of close to the second pit, so there's this first pit with the rings, and then there's this second pit, which is the one we want to fall into. Once I get to around here, maybe the middle of this kind of wall here, I start to slow down in order to land on this flipper here. Once again, this is something done by feel, and you don't even really have to do this. It's just a little bit faster. If you're more comfortable, you can just walk down this flipper a little bit and then flip upwards, like so. So it's entirely up to you how you want to do this. Flip upwards and then run along the ceiling. Once you get to the edge of this first ceiling, you want to do a tap jump. If you do it too big of a jump, sometimes Sonic will not have the time to jump off of that ceiling there, and this is a really big time loss, to be honest. You just kind of have to suck it up and deal with the time loss and make your way to the end of the level. So make sure to do a tap jump here, then do a full jump off of that ceiling, and then do one more full jump off of this last ceiling. Now off this fourth ceiling, you want to run off and tap left in midair in order to slow yourself down a little bit. And once you land, you want to do a sort of like a medium jump. It's not really a tap jump. If you tap jump, you won't make it a lot of the time. So I do like a medium jump, and I slow down to come to a stop here on this ground. Now, here I charge a pila and I get ready for another MPO. So I hold down right, then I hold up right, and then once I'm in the wall, I release up and just hold left out of unpause to zip. And that's pretty much it for collision 2. If you do this level correctly, you should be getting a 20, anywhere from like a 28 to a 25. It also depends on how you do the beginning. If you decide to do the beginning with the fast method, you should be getting a 26 or a 25. If you do it the slow way, you'll be getting like a 28, 27 type of time. Now, recently there was actually a level rep found for this level a couple days ago by Zaxxon. I don't have the time to kind of talk about this level rep here, and it's also pretty new. It's still in kind of its primitive stages. So it's also probably not worth talking about yet anyway, since there could be a faster setup found or a more easy setup found for it. If you do want to know more about this lower up though, there will be links to the Classic Sonic Discord in the description where you can go to the CD channels and check out the lower up for yourself. Try it if you want. But that's pretty much it for Collision Chaos 2. So let's move on to the third act, which is by far the easiest and most simple act in the game. So for Collision Chaos 3, charge a full payload once again. And perform an MPO until you get onto this frame here. Once you get this frame, you want to do a full jump to make it up onto the ceiling. Hold right and then roll off the ceiling like that to get a really fast level. You just completely skip the boss. It's really nice. Now this jump is frame perfect. So it is pretty easy to mess up. As you can see, I messed it up there. However, thankfully, there's a very easy backup that you can do if you do miss this jump here. All you have to do is stop here, charge a payload, perform an MPO into this wall, and then just hold right to break the capsule here. In this level, you should be getting a 3 to 3 second time with the fast strat, and like a high 4 second or low 5 second with the slower backup strat. There's not really too much else to say about this level, and there's really not too much else to say about the zone in general. So that's pretty much it for Collision Chaos, and next up, Joey will be talking about Tidal Tempest. Thank you for watching.